Hi, my name is Dara LaPorta. I have been married to my husband Matt for 16 years. I am a mom of 4 to Sienna, Price, Maddox, and Tessa, and I'm also Pastor Craig and Debbie's daughter. My children are now 13, 11, and 8. But when I brought my youngest baby, Tess, home from the hospital, I had a 4-year-old daughter and twin 2-year-old sons. Needless to say, mothering that many littles at once has been one of the most sanctifying experiences of my life, and I'm really excited to share what I feel like God taught me through those years. But before I do that, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about one thing, and that is motherhood is hard, period, full stop. Whether you have 1 kid or 7 kids, whether you breastfeed or bottle feed, whether you have boys or girls, whether you stay at home full time or work outside of the home full time, whether you have tons of support and family around you, or whether you have no one, motherhood is hard. And I would further venture to say that most of us don't feel that good at it most of the time. So I come to you not as an expert, but as a fellow mama who just recently made it out of the trenches of the little years. You know, I obviously grew up in a very loving Christian home. Jesus was always real to me. I don't remember a time when I didn't have a relationship with Jesus. I grew up and really did the right thing and made good choices, a little bit because I was scared of my parents, but mostly because I really did trust God and His plan for my life. I wanted to live the way He called us to live. I loved God, but I didn't need Him. I wasn't desperate for Jesus until I became a mom. And being a mom was all I ever wanted. It's all I ever dreamed of. And I was so confident that I was going to be the best at it. And then I actually brought that little baby, blue-eyed girl home from the hospital. And I thought, what did I do? It was harder than I ever could have imagined. And I didn't feel good at it at all. So God used this dream, this role that I had always wanted, that I thought I was going to be so great at. He used that as the catalyst to send me running to His arms with a humility and neediness I had never experienced before. Lesson number 1 is seek God first. Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and then all these things will be given to you as well." When I was preparing for this message, I asked the girls at my table, shout out to table 3 at Lutz, I asked them, what would you want to hear me talk more about? What do you have questions about? And they said probably the same kinds of things you would ask me if we were having coffee. How do you transition from 1 kid to more kids? How do you prioritize your marriage? How do you balance motherhood and work? How do you do all the things? Well, Matthew 6:33 tells us, by seeking God first, and all these things will be given to you as well. By pursuing your relationship with Jesus more than you pursue anything or anyone else. I will never not talk about this when I get the chance to stand in front of you. Spending time with Jesus is the best investment you will ever make into your motherhood. And I love that you're sitting in this room right now. I hope you attend a service on the weekends, but it's not enough. You have to find a time, a way to connect with Jesus daily, to regularly get into the presence of God. And only then will you really be able to do all the things that we feel are required of us as moms. So intentionally carve out time with God. Seek God first. That's lesson number 1. If motherhood is hard, marriage is even harder. I read in a book once that said, marriage shows you how selfish you are, and parenting shows you how angry you are. I've experienced this. The same year we brought the twins home was the same year my husband's professional baseball career came to an end. And it was devastating. We were experiencing change and transition. It felt on all fronts of our life. And honestly, we were not coping that well. We were not on the same team. And as a matter of fact, it felt like we were playing two different sports most of the time. And when you have 3 children at that time, ages 2 and under, it wasn't working. 2014 was the hardest year of our marriage so far. And we knew that if we were going to come through it, we had to find a way to get back on the same team. And that's lesson number 2. I'm going to read Ecclesiastes 4:9 through 12, but I want you to hear it. I'm sure you've heard it before, but I want you to hear it and listen to it through the lens of marriage and parenthood. It says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if 2 lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. I love the part about being overpowered. I usually feel outnumbered and outmatched by my children, which is why Matt and I have to be on the same team. I need him. I needed him to help me through those little years. And marriage is just this huge, big topic. And I wish I could tell you all the little things I feel like we did that helped us get back on the same page. But I don't have time for that. But I am going to share one thing that I really feel like was a game changer for us. And that was learning to laugh easily and forgive quickly. Before we learned how to do this, we did a lot of blaming each other and defending ourselves. Every cup of spilled milk was someone else's fault. Every impatient word was a reason to go to battle. But when we learned to laugh easily and forgive quickly, instead of blaming each other for the daily chaos and mishaps, we learned to laugh about it. Instead of taking every impatient tone personally, we learned to meet each other with grace, because the truth is we were both exhausted. And inevitably, someone was going to snap occasionally. James 1:19 says, listen, open your ears, harness your desire to speak, and don't get worked up into a rage so easily, my friends. The Amplified Version uses words like slow to take offense, patient, reflective, forgiving. I don't share this part on marriage lightly. I know there are probably things you feel that are out of your control in your marriage. But as much as is possible, get on the same page. Keep communicating, keep having hard conversations. Learn to get on the same team. I've been a mom for over 13 years now. And for over 10 of those years, I was also working from home, building a wellness business on social media. I started my business the same year the boys were born, and I only just recently took a step back in these last few months. But during that time, those 10 years, my business was a significant contribution to our income, so it wasn't something I could just do when I felt like it or dabble in here and there. It was something that I had to figure out how to fit in to my routine, into my schedule, along with being a mom to 4 children. And there was a season, probably more years than I'd like to admit, where I wasn't doing this well. I didn't know how to balance it all. It wasn't working. I felt like I was failing in all the things, doing nothing particularly well. I felt like I was in an endless pursuit of balance. And it was a race I always seemed to lose. And I was exhausted. Until I learned lesson number 3, which was forget balance and do what matters most. My friends Michelle Myers and Summer Phoebus wrote a book called She Works His Way. And in it, they say, better life balance is not the solution. Order is. We were divinely designed to put God first. So many of us are simultaneously striving to be who God says we are and who the world says we should be. That's not balance, that's bondage. They go on to say that jobs will likely fluctuate throughout your lives, but we never have to question the assignments God gives only to us. Our family roles offer us our greatest opportunity for significance. In a world that is constantly trying to define success for us as bigger and better, we need to be reminded of the high calling and unique opportunity that God has given us at home. Now, you might be listening to that and think, I can't quit my job. What does she want me to do? I didn't quit my job, and I'm not asking you to quit your job either. What I did do is go straight back to lesson number 1. I had to make sure that I was running after God harder than I was running after any income, job title, promotion, or affirmation from others. I had to reorder my life. What I did do is stop viewing my children as interruptions to my day and to my schedule. And what I did do is come to God each and every morning and pray this prayer of surrender. Lord, be with me today. Let all that I do be done through a filter of you. I know I'm not going to get everything done today that I want to get done, but help me do what matters most. Show me where to direct my time and my focus, and help me to pause throughout my day and be available to you and to others. Rid me of selfish ambition and vain conceit. Isaiah 30:21 says, whether I turn to the right or to the left, my ears will hear a voice behind me saying, this is the way, walk in it. When I seek God first, when I spend intentional time with Jesus, I can then trust Him to lead my day. I can trust Him to show me what child needs me the most that day. I can trust that He's going to give me the discipline and focus I need to do the work that needs to get done that day. And I can trust that the things that didn't get done, it's going to be okay. And I can also trust that when I choose wrong, in the moments where I mess up, He's going to fill in the gaps. Forget balance and do what matters most. I've always said that if I ever write a book, it will be the antithesis of a self-help or motivational book because it would be called Lower Your Expectations. And this is the 4th lesson I learned in mothering littles. Proverbs 19:21 says, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. I will never forget a conversation I had with my mom. We were standing in my kitchen. It was definitely in the little years. Maybe Tess was 2, so the rest of them, were up 2 years from there. It was just a lot. It was one of those days where I thought it was going to go a certain way and someone got sick and I had to go pick them up, or, just something went wrong. And I was complaining. I was saying, gosh, Mom, I can't seem to find my rhythm. I can't seem to get my feet underneath me. And she looked at me straight in the eyes and gently but firmly said, Dara, you have 4 kids. You're not going to find a rhythm. Now listen, I am still a pen and paper girl. I still like a schedule. I believe in habits and routines. I think they can help so much. However, her comment shifted my perspective and helped me to lose the entitlement I felt. Like I deserved to have my day go the way it should. I learned to hold my plans loosely. I've learned to lower my expectations about what I'm actually going to get done that day, how long something is really going to take, how our holiday plans will actually go, what our family photo shoot will really look like, and what a family vacation actually means. Spoiler alert, you just do your normal, hard, chaotic life in a different location, but it's a lot harder because you don't have all your normal stuff. I'll be honest, I don't know if me telling you to lower your expectations is even biblical, but I can tell you that having realistic expectations around my plans, around my kids' behavior, around my schedule, around family game night or family devotional time has helped me so much. Moms, we have to stop expecting things to go perfectly or even well. The more you accept the mishaps and delays and interruptions that come with having young children, the quicker you will be able to laugh about it, rebound, and move on. Pastor Matt Chandler says, really, all frustration is birthed out of unmet expectations. Lower your expectations, and I promise you, this all becomes a lot more fun. This last lesson is the one that's still the hardest for me to grasp. But I need to know, and I need you to know, that God delights in you. He doesn't just love us. He didn't just die for us. He likes us. The way we take joy and pleasure in our children is the way God views us. I will never get over that, and I hope you don't either. Psalm 18:19 says, "He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me." The Hebrew word for spacious place is merkab, and it means to breathe freely, to revive, to have ample room, or to be refreshed. When you're at the end of your rope, God delights in you. When you've snapped at your husband, God delights in you. When you've served cereal for dinner, again, God delights in you. When you feel like you're drowning, God delights in you. He delights in you, and he wants to bring you into a spacious place where you can breathe, refresh, renew, and revive.